The small lesson today is going to be about manipulation and displacement. So why is it important to know what manipulation and displacement is? I'm going to explain it like this. Once we actually have a movement, so if you have displacement, this is let me take this one off. So if we have a movement in a direction, we want to see displacement to see a continuation movement. So we're trading continuations, so we want to see that displacement. So what we see a high get taken, and we have a nice force above it. Again, we see a next high get taken, and we got a nice force moved above it. Again here, and then here we see that we get lack of displacement. So we actually stopped moving above it, and we actually had a small movement above it. So this is actually a manipulative move, and you have to see this manipulation as people got trapped right here before the market actually starts shifting back to the other side. And when this happens, you actually have to know that the market is tending to shift sides. Now, we have to compare this together with the higher time frames, because if the higher time frame was actually in a short at that point, and we had our FIB2, so this was the move of a higher time frame, and we see us come back to fair value of price after this retracement or beautiful moves with beautiful displacement constantly up, and this is, say that this is a 4 hour. Once we get to that fair value of price and we see a lack of displacement, people are not aware of the higher time frame at that point. We are, because I'm teaching you guys this. And once we hit that 50 level, we want to see if we fail displacement, this is going to be a manipulation movement for the market then to shift actually back down. The reason why is because we had a movement down. So we came actually from a higher time frame movement lower. We had a 50% retracement, and then we actually are continuing the daily structure. So if this was a day structure, you can say this looked like the day then, and that would be the move. So to fully understand this movement, so we need to use this in the context of the higher time frame. So to know where the market is headed, we need to use this in the right time frame. Now, if this time frame shows us daily that we are retracing from an impulsive move, now we know if we hit that 50 level or a bit higher, that there is a huge possibility once we stop moving above highs with force, that the market is tend to shift. And once you see this on a lower time frame doing this kind of movement, this can be on a 5 or a 15 minute that you actually see this kind of movement back to downside. We actually know then that the higher time frame shows us we already hit our fair value of level, and we want to go back to the movement that the higher time frame is actually doing. This is how we actually find an optimal entry for ourselves, and this is why I want to trade this level to short or to long again. That's just exactly the same movement. Also why I took that short yesterday. Now, do they show that we are in a retracement or a continuation movement? So the higher time frame needs to show you what are we doing. Are we falling down, or are we in a retracement move? And once the market starts to move like this, then after we had a retracement move, we are tend to look again for the same movement that we are actually wanting to move. Now I'm going to show you the same movement on an uptrend. Say that we were on an uptrend right now. So this was a daily move. We already had a retracement, and we are forming displacements. And you will see this move come happening too. We will see that the market wants to manipulate people right here, intending, and then the market wants to do this. So here the market at a 4 hour will shift inside and manipulate people to go short again, because they will believe, because the market here shifted under a high or under a low, to go back down. Now, if you watch this on a higher time frame, we already had a retracement. So once the market is actually inside a 4 hour based, moving towards a high again, if this was a retracement, we do not want to look for shorts right here. We want to be able to see the manipulative move and then continue our first bias that we actually had until the market actually fully shifts under this low. And once we see a displacement then, or a manipulative move to the downside here, this is where people get trapped, and this is for us to recognize, because of the higher time frame shows that we actually are moving up. This is why we do not short at this level. We need to know this, or you need to be able to see this, so that you know to trade with the smart money, or the people that push the markets in the direction where they want to. And you will see after this manipulative move, they trapped a lot of sellers right here, and they need those contracts to then push the markets in the direction again where we want to, because this 4 hour is actually aiming for this high, because after taking out a high, retracing back to fair value of price, we have internal liquidity pool. So say that this is a fair value gap somewhere, what we use most of the time, that this was an optimal entry. After this entry, we go to an external level. So we need to take out, if the market continues to do the movement it should be doing, we take out an external level, because here we create that boss to the upside. And this is exactly what happened yesterday on a 4 hour chart. So we saw the same movement. This was the movement that we had. And this is why I said on a 15-minute based, this is a bit lower time frame to have a better optimal entry, that I said we want to short from this level. Because we actually had a full impulsive move, and a 4 hour was showing a retracement of that move to then continue. And where do we continue to? At least the lows where we came from. Because we came from an external level back to a fair value of price to an internal liquidity pool. That 15 minutes fair value gap is a very good footprint or entry model that we can take, that I actually use every day. And then we have to short it back down. Nonetheless, once we were in here, this does not look like a short position, because you can see how strong these candles move. But because we watch higher time frames too, to ensure that the movement that we're taking is correctly, this is how we can interpret where the market is headed. So, small lesson for today, a lot of information inside. Rewatch that, I'll put it online